What is up, y'all? It's your boy Winston Wolf. I'm back. I just want to do a quick video. Yes, the air conditioning is on. No, I'm not shutting it off. So last night before I went to bed, I stumbled upon a Malice in the Palace documentary, and surprisingly, it wasn't by, well, I guess probably not surprisingly, but people have been waiting for ESPN 30 for 30 to do a documentary about Malice in the Palace, or Malice at the Palace, however you want to say it. But they've been waiting for one for years and years. For some reason, they just never did it. And they would have been the best people to do it because they could have got access to all the people they need to get interviews with, to get all the footage that they needed, everything. But instead, Netflix is doing it. And I think this is a direct result of the Michael Jordan Last Dance documentary, because we've seen a couple different companies or channels or whatever try to kind of, jump on that wave. And it feels like this is them kind of like testing the waters to whether they should keep doing things like this. And it is not good. Number one, they start the documentary off by saying, oh, you haven't seen all the footage. Nobody's seen all the footage, then they understand. Then they go ahead and show you everything that you've seen before. All the footage that they showed on there, you can find on YouTube. I've seen all that stuff before. The only thing that I had not seen was the footage that they showed of the guy in the blue jersey throwing the beer that hit Artest that started the whole thing. But I've seen that before, but just from a different angle. So they hyped up all this. You've never seen this before. And I was thinking, okay, they're going to have footage up in the crowd of maybe somebody, punching Artest. Because I don't know if you follow pro wrestling, but there's a lot of times where if some wrestlers go in the crowd and an altercation starts with a fan, you can't see it, but, a fan will sneak up and hit the wrestler in the ribs from behind or from the side or something like that. And then he'll turn around and start stealing on people. And from the outside, it looks like he's just going crazy hitting fans, or maybe a fan just said something and, and they're getting knocked out. No, it's usually some stuff you don't see, but then somebody will show like a different camera angle, because obviously they'll go to court over something like that. And then somehow some footage will pop up of the fan, hitting the wrestler in the ribs or dumping something on him, or, some kind of assault that justifies that. We didn't get any of that in this. And the way they were wording it and hyping it up, I was for sure that we were going to have some footage of some fan, punching Artest or pulling out a knife or something. I don't know, to justify the whole, how far that went. And they didn't. And then they show you all the footage very early on. Then about maybe 2/3 into it, they start talking like, okay, we showed you everything. Now we're going to show you all this stuff that you never seen before. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. And then it's nothing. It's just the same footage we've seen a million times. Another thing is living in Michigan, when that went off, we had the local, we had Fox 47, I believe, or whatever local Fox stations. They were carrying that they were showing the game at the same time TNT was showing it. So they were using their own cameras. They were set up in different areas. So if you watch the footage from the local crew, you get to see a lot more stuff. You get to see a lot better stuff. There's a lot more mayhem. They barely showed any of that footage. I think the only footage that I saw from those local cameras, from what they shot, is when the chair got thrown towards Jermaine O'Neal. That was it. So they missed out on a lot of good footage, and it's on YouTube. If you search around, you can find, all the other angles and the different stuff that TNT or whoever aired the, whatever major network aired the game also. So I don't know why they didn't use any of that footage, because I've seen a lot better footage than that. Also, they didn't interview Carlisle. They didn't interview any other teammates. I think. Did they for Indiana? If they did, it was maybe one other teammate, but they didn't interview anybody else, and they didn't interview any Pistons. They didn't interview any Detroit Pistons, which is crazy, because there was Fred Jones was in the crowd, and they said something about Ben Wallace's brother had died, but I think he had another brother that was in the crowd, because there's footage of Fred Jones in the crowd, and somebody that they always said was Ben Wallace's brother comes up from behind and just starts rocking Fred Jones in the head, just left, right. So there's just a lot of stuff that they didn't talk about, a lot of stuff they didn't show, a lot of people who should have been interviewed that weren't interviewed. It was like they interviewed just two random cops instead of interviewing any Detroit Pistons. Like, what? What? I don't know, but whoever was in charge of that whole Netflix thing, that's why Netflix is dying. That's why nobody messes with Netflix anymore. Because they don't have any movies anymore. Any kind of documentaries and stuff they have are just straight up garbage. They just, you know what I'm saying, all these other companies who are supplying them all the good, you know, all the good content, they were like, hey man, let's do it ourselves and let's get these bums out of here. And Netflix is looking real funny in the light right now. But yeah, Malice at the Palace, not a good documentary. I would say, you know, hopefully we have another documentary, but I don't think there's anything else that needs to be said about that. We've heard, you know, Steven Jackson was in the documentary saying, this is the last time I'm going to talk about it. It's because he said the same thing over and over again. Same with Artest. Jermaine O'Neal, I haven't seen too many interviews with him talking about it, but I've heard over the years Artest and Steven Jackson do many interviews and talk about this and say the exact same things that they said. So I don't know. I just think it was Netflix trying to find something controversial to, you know, test the waters to see if they could do these sports documentaries. And judging by what they did, no, it was not good. It was a waste of time. You would probably get a lot more information and a lot better footage just hopping from YouTube video to YouTube video about the Malice at the Palace. Straight up. So Malice at the Palace, or Malice in the Palace by Netflix, I give it 0 dog bones. I don't think it's good. If you had never heard of the Malice in the Palace or seen any footage, yeah, it would be okay. But even then, if that's your introduction to it, still go on YouTube, look at video clips, look at interviews, and you'll get a lot more than you did from that documentary. But this is your boy Winston Wolf. It's a shame. That was a terrible documentary, and I'm out.